Good evening, everybody. It's the Saints Man, small van driver on the CX. It's Wednesday, the 26th. Looking at my diary, and this is Monday to Wednesday, week in the life of, or days in the life of a small van driver. Totally unedited. Almost got 300 subscribers now. Really appreciate it. Contacting more and more people contacting me, hopefully helping you out. Start on Monday the 24th. I hadn't got a job. Um, I thought I was going to be late getting a job as well because there's very quiet the feed to start with. But then a job popped up from NN6. It was Weedon to Atherstone, and it was only a small job. It worked out. I've got to get to Weedon, which is like 14 miles away, and the job was to Atherstone. It was about 30. It's about 46 miles. I quoted 40 quid, and yeah, got it. And it was just a laptop to be returned to the company, which I did. Atherstone's a pretty good area. It's between Rugby, sort of Coventry on the A5. And that day, I pretty much spent going up and down the A5 because the next job I got was Rugby, and it was to Slough. It was meant to be to Slough. It was Rugby picking out of Hermes, going to Slough. And it wasn't the giant Hermes, it was one in Rugby itself. So I thought, that's okay. I quoted 75 for it, and it was about 100 mile, all in. So 75 per mile, quoted that, not far from Atherstone. I got to Hermes, and at the gatehouse, told them what I was and what I was picking up. It was meant to be returns, and there wasn't any returns. So there was no trip. So it was a cancelled job. I travelled a bit to get to it. Cancellation fee's 30 quid, and the shipper was quite happy with that. He says, "There's no returns. There's no returns." He says, "It's not your problem, not your fault." He says, "You've let us know and everything. That's fine." He agreed £30. He said, "Yep, that's absolutely fine." So I was in Rugby, which is not a bad area, and I'd done 30 quid. So I went and parked at Rugby Services, which I have to say is getting better. It's all modern and lovely, but it's got no soul to it. It's just a bit, I don't know, but it's all new and it's nice. So I went to Rugby, got myself coffee, and I got used the toilet. From then, looking for a job, and got one out of Magna Park, car parts. It was to Nuneaton, Tamworth, and Burton-on-Trent, and I weren't far from it. But I've done the car parts before, a few of them actually. BMW ones, Toyota ones, bits and pieces. So I've got 3 drops. I've got to go to Magna Park, which was only 6 miles away, and it was 60 miles in total, with my 6 miles of 66. I quoted 65. I thought, yeah, I'm going to quote 65. 3 drops, and I got it. Got it straight away. Got a little bit of time. Didn't need to be at Magna Park till 12. Got there at between 11:45 and 12:30. Got there just 11:50. Parked up with the others waiting, and mine was the second lot. They come out in batches on trolleys, and mine was the second lot. So I had a bit of a wait. Chatted to a driver next to me who got a run that I'd done before, so I helped him by telling him little where to go. He'd never done it before, where to get in. And then our batch come out on the trolleys, and I went to get my trolley, which is by the shutter door, and I've got one battery. One battery. Heavy battery, obviously, because they're heavy. One battery. That was for Tamworth. There was nothing for Nuneaton, there was nothing for Burton-on-Trent. So that's all I did, one battery. So my day was getting better. I got a cancelled job £30, and I got this job where it's 3 drops, it was only 1. But I had to go past the Nuneaton one to get to Tamworth, literally past the door. And Burton was only 10 miles further. And I waited. I didn't leave till about 1:10. So I waited an hour and 10 minutes. So I was on the verge of phoning the shipper, but didn't, because I thought, well, let's see what happens. She said second, and they're really nice people there. She's a nice lady. And sure enough, yeah, it came out as one. I thought, well, I've waited an hour. I ain't going to charge waiting time because I'm not going to do the last one, so I'm saving myself a few miles. So that's what I did. So I ended up in Tamworth. And I parked just outside Tamworth on the just by the A5, and a job popped up, very small job, Atherstone to Atherstone, 5 miles. And I thought, geez, it's just back down where I've just down the A5 again. And I was 16 miles from it, and it was 5 miles. So I quoted 25 quid, which is really my minimum, really, 25 quid. And I got that as well. And I got a lady says it's just picking up, and I've been to this place before. It's in the middle of the woods. It's like a computer company, but yeah. And I got that, and it was a residential house, flat, 3 floors up, but it weighed 40 kilos. It was like a monitor, like a thing that you put lots of electronics through. Not a monitor, I don't know. It's like a tower. But bloody hell, it was heavy. And yeah, I took it up a strange place in Atherstone, in a house that had been converted into flats, internal flats, like multiple occupancy. And he was on the top floor. So I had to lug it up 40 kilos up 3 flights of stairs. But luckily the stairs were quite wide, so I was doing them 2 at a time. By the time I got to the top, it was like a workout. But hey, job done. So then, I did £160 for 3 jobs and 1 cancelled job. And I haven't really done many hours, and I'm not far from home. So I thought, well, I'm going to trundle home. And I've worked out I'll be under 200 miles, easy. So I was on my way trundling home, got a phone call from a shipper, one who gives me a fair bit of work, said, I've got a job for tomorrow if you want to call round about 6 o'clock tonight. He says I've got a couple of boxes, there's 6 boxes in total, to Cardiff and Bristol. So I did, so I went home. He's only 3 miles from my house. So I went home. Twice I went home there. Parked up at home, had some dinner. He got a phone call, your boxes are in. So went and picked them up. Sure enough, there was only 5 boxes, 2 for Cardiff, 3 for Bristol. And he wanted the Cardiff one done first. So Monday, I did 186 miles, including picking these parcels up, for £160 for a small van. I only did an 8.5 hour day, including the 15 minutes to go and pick, half an hour to pick these parcels up. So I ended up with 86 pence overall, which is really good. Yes, I've only earned 160 quid, and in January I'm looking for 180 to give me sort of 900. Is that right? 500? Yeah, I'm looking for 180. So I was 20 quid under, but pence per mile was way up. So I'll take that. So anyway, Tuesday, I started early, and when I mean early, I was out the door at 5:15 in the morning, because my first drop's to Cardiff, and I can be there at 8 o'clock onwards to tip. So I set off at 5:15, straight down to Cardiff, got there about 25 past 8, something like that. Delivered Cardiff, no problem. I've done these deliveries loads of times. Down to Bristol, Cribbs Causeway, into Bristol, done that job, and parked up. Went to Morrison's, Cribbs Causeway, fueled up, got myself a sandwich, used the toilet, got a coffee, and looking for jobs. And it was about, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock. Perhaps later than that. It's about 10 o'clock. Yeah, 10 o'clock. So I started looking about 10 o'clock. I walked into Morrison's. I got my phone on me, the feed, 10 o'clock looking. Back to the van, ate my sandwich, and jobs were pinging up. I quoted on a couple, didn't get them. Then a job pinged up Gloucester to Stamford. That's home. That's virtually home. It's just near the top end of Corby. To me, that's 35 miles from my house, and it's Gloucester. So, yep, that's a great job for me if I can get that, because I've had good money going down. I've got 138 going down, £138. So if I could get this job back, I'm going to go for it. So I didn't put a bid in. I just phoned up, and it was I phoned up, and I just said who I was. It's Dave on the CX. Give him my number, and the voice at the other end said, "That's not the infamous Saints man, is it? Infamous Saints man?" And I went, "Yeah." He says, "Oh, bloody hell!" He said, "I subscribed to your channel." It was a shipper who subscribes to my channel. So big shout out, Paul at Useful Logistics. Give me the job as well. I'll give him a cheap price, because it was like a backload for me to get my own Stamford. Give him a really good price. Still quoted it was like 65p, something like that, loaded. So it weren't too shabby. But give him a good price. I've still got to go and get it. Brilliant. we had a little chat actually. Nice, really nice bloke. He was back where he's based and what he does and what jobs and where he gets his jobs out of most. So I took the details. So big shout out, Paul at Useful Logistics. Yep, nice that you subscribe, mate, and it's great to speak to people that, small world. So I want to pick the job up, Gloucester, over to Stamford. It was a small box, not very big box at all. It's going to a big engineering place, top end of Stamford, it worked out 37 miles from home. Now I got £92, which I was happy with. He got a good rate, and all good. So that was the end of my day that day. Well, it wasn't quite the end of my day because on the way home I got a warning light come on, sensor light, and it's a sensor. It tells me I've got no fuel. I've got loads of fuel. I've had it in once before, and they say it's a sensor, but they don't know which one. Blah blah. Darren's had it in. Darren says it's just a sensor. Now he's got it for. I'm off for a week in February, going on our boat, just popping out to a boat. He's having it to put a cam belt on and a water pump because it's due one, and he's doing that the second week of Feb. And he's going to put a part on, this sensor part. He said it's nothing. He said it's just a bloody sensor. They're a pain in the arse on these vans, and they are. So a little warning triangle comes up saying, oh, you must get this. There's nothing wrong with it. Just a sensor. So I popped in his anyway, had a chat with him. It was about 3 o'clock. I was done. 3:15, I was done. I did 10 hours that day. 400 miles I did exactly, and I got 230 quid. So the pence per mile wasn't brilliant, but overall I earned 230 quid. You're not going to knock that. And I'll take the lower pence per mile because Monday I had loads per mile, and it's easy. It's just all motorway. It's long distance, but it's more money, and it's way over target for the day, which is like 180. I did 230. It didn't quite finish though then, because when I got home, I was home by 4. My phone went, and it was my mate who gives me work. He got work for today, Wednesday. He said, Dave, I've got Oxford, Cheltenham, and Exeter. Great, yeah, I'll take that all day long. Yeah, okay. So I went and collected 3 boxes, 1 for each. So I'm lucky, really. I'll go and pick them up. I've got them in the back of the van. I could start early. It's a bit of flexi time. So today, that was Tuesday finished. I did 10 hours, 400 miles. Literally all driving it was. It was, nothing much. Today, I started a little bit later, 6:15. I went down to Oxford. I was in Oxford at 7:30. Delivered there. I went into Cheltenham. Got caught in the traffic, 9 o'clock traffic. A little bit later, not too shabby. And I was down in Exeter and done by about 11:30, 11:45, something like that. About 11:45. And I'm in Exeter. So now I'm going to look for something out of Exeter. I've got 150 quid going down. So it's good money again. So I only need a 50 quid job, perhaps up to Bristol, 70 quid job up to Bristol, which is 100 mile, 65 quid or something like that in Bristol. And I was preparing to tramp or get something out of Bristol, perhaps. There was 3 or 4 drivers around, nothing coming out at all. So I just delivered, and I'll park in Morrison's again in Exeter. There's a Morrison's, nice Morrison's about a mile from where I deliver. And I like to park there because I've got a fuel card that works there. I get a sandwich, blah, what you get when you park up these places. You can park there for 2 hours. I didn't get a chance to park there for 2 minutes because as I was pulling into Morrison's, a job popped up from EX24, I think, to Northampton. Yep, EX24 to Northampton, where I live. And not only where I live, when I see the job, I knew exactly what it was because I know the shipper. So I phoned up. It says e-quotes only, but I thought, I know it. I know the shipper really well. I'll phone up because I'm in Exeter and I'll do him a cheap rate because it's a backload for me, this is. And I phoned up and he straight away says, "Are you all right, Dave?" I says, "Yeah, fine." I says, "Mate," I says, "that job EX24 to Northampton," he knows who I am. And he went, "Is you getting a home job?" He says, "Well, I've had some real..." He said, "I already had about 4 quotes in." Told me what he'd had. I says, "Well, I'll do it for..." I says, "I can do it for 100 quid. It was 180 miles. And I said, "I'll do it for 100 quid. I says, that's cheap, you know, that's what he said, that's, yeah, he says, Dave, he says, I'll send it over. I've had a cheaper quote, I've had a 90, I've had a couple of hundreds and 110, 120. He says, but your phone, he said, I know you do a good job. He says, I'll get it over to you. He says, you're meeting a DPD driver who's took something out by mistake, something by mistake anyway. But it was going to a place where I've collected from in Bracknells for him, delivering from there, but now I'm taking stuff back. It's returned, 2 boxes. And he says he shouldn't have took it out of something, it should have gone back. He said, but great. He says, you're doing direct run. I went, yep. He says, yeah, all right, I'll send it over. Superb. The driver's in Axminster. He lives in Axminster. I got his contact details. I don't know whether he was DPD because it was a plain van. So I don't know what company he worked for. But he got 2 boxes at his house. So I just pulled into his house, picked him up, and we were on our way back to Northampton. Altogether, the 92 worked really well. Not 92, the 100 worked really well because I did 150. So 250 today. It's a mega day. And it's all driving. I haven't had to look around. I haven't even had to sit. No waiting time. And today was a 10 and a quarter hour day. I did 429 miles. All drive. It's all motorway driving. Just sitting on cruise control at 65, so getting good fuel. And I drove for about 8.5 hours today. And I did that on Tuesday as well. In the 10 and a quarter hours, it's all driving. And I won 2 small breaks of about half an hour. 3/4 of an hour, not even that, half an hour. I had a break in Morrison's in Exeter. So, all good. So, I did 250 quid, 427, 60 per mile. I'll take that with me 86. And that's me done for the day. I'm done. 4:15, I'm in the house, I've fueled up, even give the van a quick clean because it's shitty. So, it's been a good start to the week. I'm not going to lie. It has. I fell in a couple of days. It's fell just right for me. I could still be in Exeter on 150 quid. No doubt about that. Because there ain't a lot of work. But I just fluked a job at the right time. It don't always happen like that. So, yes, you take that. I'm home, gonna get dinner ready in a minute. Wife took the grandchildren. She's picked them up. She's taking them home in Kettering. She'll be coming home soon. All good. I've even walked the dog. I even got a dog walk before it gets dark. So it's been a great week so far. I've met another shipper who subscribes. That's 2 or 3 who subscribed to my channel. I've chatted to. Made a contact there. So Paul at Useful Logistics, appreciate the work, mate. And yeah, if I'm around the areas you said that you get a lot of work out of and I ain't got any work, I'll definitely give you a call, mate. So all good. So far it's been a good week. My target's, I said 180, but I'm doing 680, 640. Is that right? Yeah, 640 so far. So I'm over 200 a day, 40 over. I haven't got nothing for tomorrow yet. But I'm bound to get some. But it takes the pressure off a little bit. I can do a couple of days where I ain't really got to race around like a loony. So it's all good. Hope you like the videos. I've chatted to a few people. There's a lad I emailed in between Bournemouth and Southampton. I'm going to email him again. Had a quick look at some figures for him on a CX, see if there's any jobs coming out of his area. There is a few. But hope you're doing well. Speak soon.